Member.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the Minister, and I will definitely say to stay tuned. So not only is PNE losing money, those who are paid to put on shows are also suffering. Last Christmas, MRG Events was hired to put on a drive-in light show, but they were informed on the day they were supposed to open that the event was cancelled. They have lost over 30 million in revenue since the start of the pandemic, and this was just another blow. In some cases, this kind of light events producer have seen 90% reduction in revenue, layoffs in the hundreds by some companies, and losses in the millions. So the live event sector are losing staff and not sure that their staff will come back when restrictions are lifted. It takes years to get staff trained up to AV technician capability, and there's no school that teach them. The industry will be the last to recover as they are not qualified for any provincial government financial support. What is the minister doing to help those businesses and their workers that are supporting behind the scene to make all these anchor attractions happen? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Member. Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I have stated that the program details are currently being developed by the Public Service. I mean, the best analogy I can give is that the ink is still wet. We're still building out the program, and so I'm not going to state what qualifies in or out because it hasn't been determined, it hasn't been signed off and solidified. I hope that as the program is announced, that the member opposite, as the critic for this file, will be encouraging people to apply, and to also just maybe appreciate that, the federal government announced assistance for festivals, $200 million. They recognize that there's a gap across the country, and that we're, all in this together. The saying of we're all in this storm together in different canoes. I call them canoes, sorry, different boats. But we're in different boats and canoes, and that goes across all of the province. So the member, just I want her to appreciate when the program is being developed that we have to consider the 604s, the 250s, all the different regions, and appreciate that the pandemic has shown no boundaries across the province. But that advocacy, we're going to do the advocacy provincially, and I appreciate the federal government has acknowledged the importance of the wage subsidy and support for the anchor and event attractions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Member.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the Minister. Now I'm going to 250, not 604. But I have to say that this live events producer, they are not the front and center. They are the face not being seen by the public. They are the one that's behind the scene. And they are supplying all the audiovisual materials. And they are falling off the crack. So Annette MacArthur, who has operated Red Door events since 1985 and started producing events for the Variety Telethon, the music festival she managed in Grand Forks brought in $2.5 million. And that mainly works in the non-profit event sector where they are also hurting. There's a lot of frustration in the industry as it seems like what the province is saying and suggesting has been inconsistent. They want an opportunity to be heard so that they can work with the government to get to a solution. And that pointed out some of the event planners have tried to call government for a response, but received no reply. That's why she's asking me to speak on her behalf. Pressures on the pandemic has even taken a health toll on many of these business owners. Annette recently suffered a heart attack. And the doctor told her that this is 100% due to the stress of her business and encouraged her to consider changing her business, her career. But she is so passionate about this industry and she has decided to continue. So what has the minister got to say to Annette? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Member. Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And to member opposite, I appreciate her raising and personalizing Annette, because it's about people. These are people that are passionate about their trade. To be an event planner, event coordinator, to invite people to your community, the residual effects of those experiences. I can think of my experiences across the province and road tripping and all of those pieces. And this is to put on the record when we go in the history books. Like, we're all dying for that right now. Every single person that I know is like dying to be dancing outside with people. And celebrating and all of those pieces. And it's been a really, really long 14 months. So what do I say to Annette? Like, this has been awful. I get that. But I'm going to defend the PHO. I'm going to defend that these aren't easy decisions to make. And no one banked on dealing with a global health crisis and a pandemic and the waves that we've gone through. Sometimes we're really breaking the curve and feeling good, and things felt more optimistic, and then we had to move back. And so, again, to Annette, I would say, like, the struggle. I get that it's challenging to feel like you're moving forward and you might have this season to hold on to, and you might have to pull that back. And I think that's why there's often a hesitation to give people like this definitive date. July 1st, we're all going to be able to go back and do all these things, because what comes with it is massive disappointment if you can't fulfill that promise. The music industry, I'm working with Parliamentary Secretary Bob Deeth in this budget. 2021, we were proud to announce $22.5 million multi-year funding for Amplify BC. This was a call to action. We believe in supporting musicians. That's a big part of our government's commitment. Same with the BC Arts Council. We've invested like $40 million, just over $40 million, to support the arts and culture group, because they're in the people business. And many of them rely on people and their audiences to perform in front of and to gather with. And that is all restricted as we speak. We'll continue engaging with the sector. Parliamentary Secretary will be engaging with the sector in the music industry field, because it is going to take some time to recover. And that transparency, that's not easy to say. Trust me, I wish I could be delivering better news. But we have to work our way out of this pandemic and get to that place where public health is feeling more confident that we can gather for those festivals and fill up parks and beer gardens and all the rest of it. So what I would say to Annette is engage with us and, tell us, help us shape, what does Amplify BC look like? And to always reach out to our office. The small and medium business size grant is intended to support those small and medium business operators. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Member.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And first of all, I would like to remind the Minister that we are not supposed to mention the name of any parliamentary secretary or minister. I think the Minister mentioned her parliamentary secretary's name twice already. So just want to put it on record. And I just want to respond to the Minister's comment on, she said she's defending the PHO. I just want to put on record that at all the meetings I have with stakeholders, with businesses, they all support the PHO. They know, they are fully aware that right now, our major focus is on trying to control COVID-19 and make sure everybody is safe and healthy. But at the same time, as a government, there should be an opening plan. As I mentioned a couple of times already in my debate earlier, that other jurisdictions can have the opening plan. We don't see why we can't. And it doesn't mean that once you announce it is cast in stone. It can always change. So another major business in the live event industry is Chris Breer. He's the president of Breer Production Group. He said he does not feel that message is being heard by the government. Just now, the minister keeps saying that reach out to them. And that said they did reach out to the government, but no response. So what's the point of reaching out if you don't hear anything? So Chris, again, he personally met with the former tourism minister and her parliamentary secretary. before she was shuffled to another ministry. I'm sure there should be some record there being in the cabinet before. When you took up a new portfolio, you read all the documents from the previous minister. And the sector has written about 60 letters to date and no positive response. It has been 14 months since this live event sector has shut down and are largely left out of the broad support from this government. Less than 25% of their fixed costs are covered by financial support. Their live event businesses are capital intensive as they have a lot of gears. They are losing $50,000 to $100,000 to $200K a month, and unsustainable debt is being shouldered by the industry. They are not even eligible for this circuit breaker grant, widely promoted by this government and so proud of by this government. Chris would appreciate if the minister can offer a lifeline to their live event industry. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, member. Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I just want to raise a point that the member keeps talking about when she was cabinet and managing calendars and managing requests and kind of implying that people are being ignored. I take issue with that, and I'm just going to be really clear about that. The member was a member in cabinet, not in the middle of a pandemic, fact point one. And then the other part is, I receive all sorts of requests. And I have a team of people. Sometimes ministry staff meet with people. Sometimes ministerial staff meet with people. But I think to suggest that ignoring people or just brushing people off is not an intention in my office at all. And I just want to put on the record, because I think the member has been implying this yesterday and today and wants to give me lessons on how to manage my calendar. We have a lot of stakeholders. That's a fact. There are a lot of stakeholders that are in the people business that are looking for answers, and we're trying to give them those answers. And we're trying to be accessible. But to go into whether the parliamentary secretary is trying to work out a meeting with this group and it's in the works, we didn't come with that level of detail to prepare for estimates. But the meeting is in the works with my colleague, the parliamentary secretary, who I share a mandate commitment with. On the point of live events, Creative BC, very important stakeholder to our file who does amazing work. I do recall the member, Madam Speaker, 2 weeks ago, we were all celebrating in the Chambers Creative Industry Week and how important they are to our mental health and our well-being and our economy and all of those pieces. One-time funding was available for venues and events impacted through Creative BC, and $15 million of the budget that I mentioned earlier of the $40 million has gone to arts and culture groups, which are performing groups that attend and perform at events. So resources are going out the door, and we hope to see more money coming from the federal government to help with events and festivals. And also, in tandem, when the member opposite is referring to that restart plan, vaccination is a laser focus right now, and as we start getting through May and June, things are going to look more promising into the summer. But Dr. Bonnie Henry, as recently as yesterday, said, the return to these huge, massive events is not happening anytime soon. That's an acknowledgement. But the important thing, I think, for government is to make sure that they are there for our neighbourhoods to return to once this pandemic's over. Thank you, Madam